So I'm just going to have a quick look. I'm going to put the weekly chart, guys, and really kind of see where we are. So let's have a little look. This is what we've been doing. Okay, so in general, been trending down, and we've had a nice recent push up, and you can see we have quite a nice level coming in around here. Really nice level, in fact. So this is quite an important level, and you can see the way the weekly bar is going to close now could have a real impact for the next few weeks and months. But one of my kind of approaches to trading and investing is let's trade what we see, right? Not necessarily what we think is going to happen. So that's why I kind of prefer the technical approach. So what I can see right now versus what I think is that we have an old resistance that becomes a future support. And the fact is we are just kind of at that level now. Now, remember, because we've got a weekly chart, it could also be the case that that we have inflation come out, and maybe it's not the number that the market expected, and maybe sterling will go down. Maybe inflation will be lower. But since the forecast is 3.8, any kind of if it's between 3.8 and 3.1, you'll just get some noise, like a little bit of noise, and nothing's really new there. But if it's less than 3.1, considering the money printing that's going on, that's going to be really bearish. And so therefore, cable could have a push down. But remember, the data comes out on Wednesday. There's still enough time for this to recover by the end of the week and close above. So one of the kind of strategies that we could implement is we could look to see on the lower time frames where there might be a lower level that we could maybe just see if we can buy for cheap and see if the market's going to hold. So that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to be looking for that kind of opportunity. I'm going to do a little bit of analysis in the weekly, just have a little look to see where there might be some fibs and so on. And have a look at this. This is quite a nice level, actually. I really like that. So if you guys can see where that 1618 is, I'm just going to draw a horizontal line. So this is just for the idea of maybe we might be able to pick up cable cheap, and then it maybe even bounces up, right? Could it go down to 130, 150 and then bounce back up? Absolutely, it could do that, right? So that's just something to bear in mind. But the lower time frames are going to kind of give us an idea, because basically what the lower time frames are, what this time frame is telling me is that this is a buy zone, right? This is a buy zone. So anywhere from where we are to possibly down here, where we have the 1618, but we also have, look at the amount of, I'm just going to highlight these and then get rid of them, support. Look at that. Resistance, rejection, 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 and there, and there, and there. Lots and lots of rejection. And even here on the other side, acting as support and going up. So these levels here are going to be very, very useful for us when we go to these lower time frames. So 133.66, 131.82. So I'm just going to make a note of those. 131.80-ish, right? Okay, so now I'm going to move on and have a look. And I am going to do something, actually. I'm just going to change this to a daily chart because I don't need the 15-minute chart, just to see if there's anything else that I need to observe here. let's clean this up. Actually, let's just do this. So I could also do the daily fibs because it's going to give me slightly different swings. And then we'll see if there's also maybe a channel play here. So let's do the fibs first, I think. See if we can get this indicator to do something. Possibly. Is this the right one? Nope. I always forget which one it is. Fibs. Hold on. Let's search for it. Okay. Otherwise, I will do it. Why is it coming up with only my down? Ah, there's the down fibs. There we go. Okay. Let's have a look. Right. So we need to start from 7286. So let me just make that adjustment. So I haven't loaded up MT4. So I'm just going to use this. Well, that's interesting. That is very interesting. So we had an A, B, C, D. Wow, that's good. So the Fibonacci target on the daily chart is 131.65, which is basically similar to what the weekly was showing us. So that's a really good sign. This area here would represent a very nice, you can see recently as well how it acted as resistance and support. This is a very nice level. So this would be a great pickup if we could get it. Now, let's look at things from a different point of view now, whereby maybe it never gets that low at all. So is there a case for maybe a more immediate entry? You can see that's quite a nice reactive channel, resistance support. So if we were to hold here, then we'd be looking at basically a move up to there. So the next thing I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to have a little look to see if we've got any divergence. Use the MACD for that purpose. And we'll have a little look to see, you know, is there any divergence on these lows? So here's what we do. You can see the market's made a lower low. The MACD has also made a lower low. So there's no divergence basically on the MACD there. So that's interesting. Right, next we will have a look to see if there's anything else that I can see here. And then I'm going to go over to the 4-hour time frame. So at this moment, it's on channel support, and we've had 1, 2, 3 touches. This is the 4th. So what we currently have is really potentially a push up from here. So today, tomorrow, and then we'll see what the data kind of brings out. That's kind of what we're seeing at the moment. But let's see if there's anything else that will give us more clues. I'm going to add stock RSI to this as well. You can see we are oversold. Last oversold went up. This one was a small move. Last one here was there. They did a lower low and then it kind of went up. Okay. So one of the things that you can do is you can wait for this to go back above 20. So you can stick an alert in. But by that point, it'll be too late. So you've kind of like be looking really right now if we can find something in the lower time frame. So let me have a little look and see what the 4-hour time frame is telling us. And let me So what's quite interesting here is that we have quite a nice reactive line here, so that you can see that it's acting as really nice dynamic resistance, and that kind of comes in here about 134.95. I'm just gonna draw some things here. We remove drawings. I'm going to put in my down fibs here as well, guys, because I want to see where the that's it. That's why that makes sense now. That makes a lot of sense. So the market has hit a D. It's now bouncing. It's come back to its 38, and we have, you know, the 50 moving average, the 618 coming in around here. I must say, like, if you're going to go short something like this, I must say I do prefer that we have like a recent support that can become resistance. So I generally like to look just to the left, and I want to identify, you know, if there's any levels that we can. So there's support right there, which is where we are right now, and then the next one up would be like there, which actually is quite nice because it brings us up to these lines here. So that would be around 135.35. So, and then if the market was to then, you know, go down, so anywhere kind of within this block, it starts to go down. The predicted Fibonacci is there, which if I just put a horizontal line there, that comes in about 132.10. That would be the level, and that would be within our box on the daily chart. So here's the tricky thing. We could short this. If we go to the daily chart, oops. So just to be clear, the current 4-hour chart is giving us a target about there. So yeah, not far off the daily level. Now, if we go back to that 4-hour chart for a second, if you wanted to sell it here, I think it's quite. I mean, it's maybe for those that are a bit more advanced, you could take a small position here and then look to scale in and sell there. Your stop has to be above the A, above this green line as well, for the short trade down there. Alternatively, guys, you let the market do its thing, and you plan for a trade possibly to buy down here, or if the market actually, you know, pushes up here and then maybe breaks this, then you could start to think, okay, this is going to the top of the channel, and so you can start to trade upwards towards the top of the channel. And if we just go back to that daily chart, so let me remove these. If we look at basically this move here, roughly that kind of angle, if you have a look, if we take this, you can see this is how it's gone up before, right? And so you could just take that, use that, put it there, and that kind of gives you a target around this horizontal level. So I'll show you what that is. One sec. So about there, about 137.20, 32. So ideally you would, you know, you try and buy this down here if it was to come out, but of course it may not. So we're at the bottom of the channel. The other way of playing this, guys, for those that again have the knowledge, is that you can buy an initial amount here where we are right now, but your stop has to be down here if you want to do that, and then stick another order into this here, and then see if you can get the bounce. So this one, so if you bought here and then it starts to go down, you've only got a small amount. Then the market goes into your ideal buy zone, and then you buy the real amount. Then at this point it comes back. Well, now the initial one is break even. This one is a nice profits, and then hopefully you get your move. So for a swing trade, scaling in is another way of doing it. So, I know some of these things are a bit more advanced, but hopefully that's kind of given you some insight into how you could trade this to, in a sort of, and give you an edge. That's the most important thing. So although I've kind of said, yes, you can sell it here, you could, I would only do a small amount here. Ideally, if you wanted to short this, then I'd be looking to add much more up here. Alternatively, you let the market, you let the market go down to here and you buy it for that swing trade up. Otherwise, let the market do its thing. Let's see what it does. At the moment, it's making lower lows and lower highs. You can see that. If you want to go with higher probability, then you want it to kind of create a high, a higher low, and then you could start to look to buy it as it breaks above this high there. That's like a safer way of doing it. And then you've got that 137 sort of 50 target like that. I hope that wasn't too much, but yeah, that's what I've got today.
When you're dropping bombs, mate. And there's about 2 or 3 different setups in there. So we've got maybe at least 1 day trade in there and 1 longer term swing trade, all applicable for this week, which is great. Monica, hey to Monica, she's saying, hey, Andy, is that a hidden divergence on the 4 hour?